On today's show, we're here with Steve Mears, our general manager, talking about the difference between leasing and buying. Roll the intro. Hey everybody, what's happening? This is Mike at Ventura Toyota, and this is episode 9 of the Ask Ventura Toyota show. Today I'm here with Steve Mears, our general manager. We're going to be talking about leasing versus buying, what the differences are, what the best way to go about getting your new Toyota is. So thank you for joining us today, Steve.
All right, great to be here.
And before we get into it, it's we're into the new year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody out there. Hopefully you got all your resolutions out in the open and talked about them. And I know I haven't even touched mine yet, so.
You haven't touched them?
I haven't even talked about it, touched them, anything.
Oh.
What about you?
You gotta get them done. You gotta put them down in stone.
I know, you gotta write them down. Everybody says, write it down or it's not a plan.
That's right. Write your plan.
So what are you doing for the resolutions? Care to share?
Just more of the same.
More of the same? More active, more healthy, better you? Just so you know, he does have a Fitbit on right now, and he beats everybody every week. Every single time, I'm telling you.
No, actually, not true.
Okay, so you're kind of like Luis Martinez. You're very humble too.
I got a relative that's
Is beating you?
pushing 70 that beats me every week. Yeah, stronger than me.
What?
My inspiration.
Stronger than Steve?
Yeah. Yeah. Bill
Can't be.
Bill Chapman.
Bill, we got to meet you one day. Have you on the show.
You
So,
gotta sit down, Bill, and quit walking so much.
yeah, because you were killing everybody for a long time. I don't understand what the deal is.
Yeah, Bill got tired of
We
me
got you
killing
working
him.
too much.
Yeah, there you go.
And you were gloating probably.
Well, you know,
I saw the videos you post up to them. Ha ha, I beat you again. Ha ha.
never.
Next week. Try
Never.
next week. No.
Never.
I'm just kidding. So we're talking about buying versus leasing, and you're a very big backer of leasing, just like we are, and the way the industry's going, and the way the expensiveness of cars is, the cost of them, the maintenance, all these things. It's just insane. So we got some questions for you from our viewers,
All right, great.
and we're gonna lead off with this one right here. And this is my personal question, so sorry viewers, but I'm gonna take the front stage on this. Why do we have so many late model vehicles in our used car inventory? I see so many of them.
Why? Because people trade their cars in very often a year, 2, 3 years after they buy them.
So people do trade them. And that was a question from one of our viewers. How long
Right.
do people usually take
Right.
to keep? How long do they keep their cars for? What's the average time? And it's what,
2.5 to 3.5 years. People keep their cars, but people change their mind. Their lifestyles change. They have kids. Their kids go off to school. They get in sports activities. They get out of sports activities. They commute. They don't commute. People's lives change constantly, and so do their vehicles. And that's why it's a good idea to lease.
So you go from like a Corolla, your entry level, just got married, you have a baby, I have to have a Camry. You have 2 babies, now I have to have a Sienna or a Highlander.
Right, you
And
got
then the
soccer,
babies,
soccer, you got the little leagues, you got all the stuff. So your lifestyle's constantly changing, and cars don't go up in value, unfortunately. It's not like a house. It's not going to appreciate. It's going to depreciate. Depreciating assets aren't great to own.
Yeah. We've had this conversation many times.
Yes.
So, next one. What are the top reasons for why someone should lease their car?
Well, you have a guaranteed trade-in value on a lease. There's a residual set in stone when you lease the vehicle, so you're looking, just a round number example, a $20,000 car, and the bank says it's going to be worth $10,000 at the end of 3 years. You're guaranteed that value at the end of 3 years. If it's less than that, you give it back to the bank and let them take the loss. If it's more than the $10,000, you trade it in and get the equity towards your new vehicle. So you never lose. Unlike if you purchased it, the market is what the market is. So you have no guarantee. Or if you decide you want to trade in early, whether it's a buy or a lease, you can always do that. There's always a payoff on your car. So You
Yeah.
have options.
So people lease for position.
Lease for position. Number one position is that you're only paying tax on the monthly payment. So if you keep the car 1 month, you pay sales tax on 1 month, versus if you bought the car and kept it 1 month, you paid sales tax on the entire life of the car.
Yeah, right.
And
When
it's
you roll
gone.
off the lot.
It's gone the day you drive off the lot. Versus a lease, you're only paying tax on the monthly payment. So it's a huge benefit to people that get in a position where they need to change cars often. Even though they think they're going to keep it a long time, most people don't, because things change. So,
You got to play the law of averages, especially with a depreciating asset, which is not an asset.
no,
It's a liability.
it's a liability.
That's the difference.
Speaking of liabilities, your liability on a purchase, you're liable for the entire purchase of the vehicle, versus a lease, you're only liable for the payments of the vehicle.
Right.
So when you look at your credit ratings and they're looking at debt to income ratios, you owe a lot less on a lease than you do a purchase.
So you on your report, it's going to show you the difference between what you, the MSRP of the car, and then what your residual is. That's what's going to show as debt on your credit rating.
Just the amount of payments.
The amount of payments.
If
Okay.
you have 36 payments at $300 a month,
Total.
then that's what your debt is.
Oh, okay. Versus
The car could be
32,
50, whatever
50,
the car
whatever.
is, doesn't matter.
on a purchase,
But-
you're way out there. It's,
Well, your
it's the
purchase
full
is
price
your,
plus tax
everything
plus
you
license
finance,
plus
your entire amount.
amount financed.
So on a lease, you're only financing the payments, not the car.
So that's a good position to be in.
Excellent position.
Of course, with the market for housing and different things and credit, it puts you in a better position with credit.
Correct.
That's awesome. So people are always kind of wondering about leasing versus buying in the aspect of if you have things happen that are out of your control to the car. And we talked about this, like my daughter was going to go to college, which she's in college now.
Right.
And we talked about, oh, I'm going to buy out this, I'm just going to pay cash for this car. I'm going to finance this car. And we're going to let her have it. And you're like, you stopped me in my tracks. Said, Mike, you're not going to do this. You're going to lease because,
Yeah,
what are
there's
those reasons? Because you
Yeah.
nailed it.
Yeah.
What are you going over that?
Well, there's a lot of people that want to buy their kid a car to go off to college, and they'll spend $5,000 or $6,000 for the car. The car will blow up, or the tranny will go out, and the car's worth nothing, and their money's gone. They could do what's called a one-pay lease, Mike, on a used certified car, and what that means is you make one payment and get the car for 3 years, and at the end of the 3 years, you give it back. So you're able to get your kid through a couple years of college with a good car, with a warranty, with all the safety features, and trouble-free by doing that with maybe a little bit bigger investment than that $5 or $6 grand, but not by a lot, and they have a safe car to use all the time they're in college.
Yeah. And you're not paying payments monthly. You just pay them all at once.
Pay
and
one
they give you a
payment
little
at the
bit of a
beginning.
discount or something from
Right,
the bank
correct.
to do that because
Yeah.
you're paying up front.
You just pay one payment up front, you have the car for 3 years, X amount of miles.
So what you told me when I was there in your office, and you're like, don't purchase, lease. I go, okay, I'm leasing. So it was, you never know who's gonna hit what, and it's a new driver, and as soon as you hit something, it goes on your Carfax. And then if you're in a purchase, you go to trade that car in later down the road, your car's worth less than the car without a purchase. But on a lease, you're scotch-free. Here you go.
Well,
Mr.
as long
Toyota.
as the insurance company fixed the car
Right.
properly and put it back in condition it was prior, even if it has a bad Carfax, it still goes back to the bank as a lease return at that value. And
Yeah.
they take the loss when it goes to auction versus you taking the loss of owning it. So it protects you. Again,
Yeah.
another layer of protection. Just like the guaranteed trade-in value, it's still guaranteed trade-in value, even though it's got a bad Carfax now.
Yeah.
Where if you own it and you're a consumer coming in to buy a car, you're going to buy a car, one of our used cars, would you want to pay the same price for one that's never been in an accident as one that's in an accident?
Oh yeah, without.
So you're either not going to buy
Nobody
the car
wants-
at all, or
Yeah.
you're going to want to buy it for less.
For a little less, yep.
So there's your value story.
And there's also protection against market conditions, gas prices.
Yeah.
You're protected because you got that guaranteed future value at the end.
Correct.
So no matter what happens,
Yeah.
you have
When gas
a great
prices go
position.
up, economy cars go up in value, when gas prices go down like they have been the last 3 years, your economy cars aren't quite as popular, and there's more SUVs and trucks on the road. And the whole U.S. has seen a surge in trucks and SUVs over the last 5 years because gas has been fairly stably staying below, in the threes.
Around the threes, yeah.
So as long as it doesn't creep into the fours and fives, when it does, the Priuses and the hybrids, electric car, everything goes through the roof,
Rocket.
and the trucks and the SUVs
Big
go down.
V8s go down.
Yeah.
People, you talked about this a second ago, but I want to hit with a bullet point. Do you pay more in tax when you lease or when you purchase?
When you pay more in tax,
In tax.
well, you're
to the
giving
state of
you're,
California.
you're giving the state 100% of the tax when you buy the car the day you buy the car, and that money's gone forever. It doesn't ever come
So
back.
right
to you.
now,
So it's gone. Now, if you lease the car, you're only paying on the monthly payments for the months you keep the car. So if you keep the car for 6 months and trade it in, you only pay tax on 6 months worth of payments. You just save thousands of dollars.
Thousands.
Because otherwise, your full purchase price of the car is tax is gone. So you're in a better position. Actually, your payoff would be less at the
That's
end
what I was getting
of
at,
6 months than it would be if you bought the car
Mm-hmm.
by that much in the tax alone. Plus, if you buy the car and finance the tax, then you're charged interest on that tax.
On tax, you just
So
double
you're paying tax on top of
compounding.
interest on, just keep paying.
fees on top of
Yeah.
And I think the last question we have is one that we touched on last week. Actually 2 weeks ago, episode 7 with Marion. She was up here and she went over a little bit of your script, which this is unscripted.
But she
Do you-
disappeared. How come she's still here? You made her disappear, if I remember right.
When I was in Orlando at the Hogwarts area, they took my wand away. So, I have this blue one. I don't have the red one anymore with all the powers.
No
So I gotta
power?
have them ship it back, and then I'll make her go away again.
Okay. Now, what
Is
was
that
the
fair?
question?
The question is, do you have to have perfect credit to lease?
Not perfect credit, but you do need to have good credit. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Now, in what was it, 97 to 2000, you did have to have only people that could qualify for lease were like the top of the top.
Right.
And
which
not
isn't
so
the
much
case
anymore.
No, a lot
So-
more people qualify than ever before.
Yep.
Again, you're financing less money. So if you finance less money, it's
Shorter
easier
term.
to qualify.
Shorter term,
It's less risk for the bank.
less risk. That's the key. So I think that is a wrap for us today, unless you have
All right.
anything more to add. We appreciate all the knowledge and breaking down leasing versus buying. I'm sure it helped out a lot of people. And right now we have our Starbucks gift card giveaway, where question of the day is up next. What is your New Year's resolution? And the way to get that gift card is to comment in the box below right here, or DM us on Instagram or Facebook. Appreciate the time. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate the people paging overhead. We appreciate them. And Happy New Year to everybody. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. All right,
All right.
Steve.
Great job, Mike.
See you later.
All right.
I'm supposed to keep my hand up, huh?